I believe it will be a volatile week ahead as companies like Tesla is insane overbought, and that is just a call for a natural reaction back. But will it happen this week? Tesla is currently at $260, or will Tesla move all the way up to $300 before having a reaction back? So hard to say because the markets are euphoric. The buy signals across the board is insane high, and that can just push the markets even higher. So when 260 at Tesla seemed to be a very high price, 300 coming up may very well be the case. The best way to deal with a situation like this is to use stop loss. That way you are, when things are going up, you're on the train, and when it goes down, it will be cut by stop loss. My personal favorite is trailing stop loss, which only goes up, never goes down. And last week I added trailing stop loss to the trading booth, which I'm currently building at getagraph.com. You are listening to the StockInvest.us podcast Trading Tips with Jim, and we will look at the week ahead of us. Try to give you a few insights at the end. We will have a look at the trading booth, which I just mentioned, which I've been building for a few weeks now and is open for you to view. And last week it was generating money, and I believe it will generate money this week as well. But there is still a few bugs to squeeze. As we speak, there is 38% buy signals across the board. Way too high. Last time it was this high, markets had several red weeks following. But again, it can push upwards. Nasdaq has 32% buy signals, falling a little bit from last week where it was 36. And that is because many stocks actually fell last week, but big companies like Tesla, Nvidia, all of them pushed the index upwards. New York Stock Exchange only 37% buy signals, down from 40. When I say 37, it's because 40 is really high. London 22% buy signals, while Tokyo is up at 51%. And that tells me that Tokyo should have a red week ahead. And often we see the start in Asia and then the Europe follows. Shenzhen China only 29% buy signals, but Shenzhen come from a low level, was down at 21% last week. These figures which I just mentioned just tell you that right now markets are at the very upper end. Markets move up and down. What you want them to do is to be having higher bottoms, meaning that when it turns down, it starts to turn up before the previous bottom, confirming to be in an upwards trend. And we've been following these signals for as long as this podcast has been, and they are usually very correct. You might miss a week or two, being a little premature that when the buy signals are very low and I start to say that now is the obvious buy situation. Sometimes it takes a week or two, and that is because it's extremely hard to pinpoint on the very day. It's more about the general trends. And the trend seems right now to be clear that markets might just be in a bull market. But being as is, everything indicates that we should have a reaction back. How long it will be? Will it just be a few days, or will it be a few weeks, even a few months? Hard to say. But if you look back, we know that Nasdaq was down at 10,000 points. Currently, Nasdaq is trading above 13,000 points, meaning that a reaction down will be a total naturally. We just need Nasdaq to be above previous bottom. I think it was 10,300, which was that very low. As long as it stays above, you have indication that the market is changing trend from falling at least to horizontal, hopefully to an upwards trend. Nasdaq had a good week last week, ending up 3.24% to 13,689. And just as I told you, when Nasdaq was 12,000 and things were starting to look good, could easily move very fast up to 13,000, which it did. And when it was 13,000, I told you it can easily move very fast up to 14,000. And we are very, very soon there as it sits at 13,689 points. Market being like this, I will not be surprised if we see 14,000 during the week. Neither will I be surprised if we head down to 12,800. That's the name of the game and why I say it will be a volatile week. Trader's dream, that's where money is made. When you can time it somewhat good, you get out when it's high, buy in when it's low, and single stocks move 10-20% every single day. You can just scoop in money. Dow Jones went up as well, 1.25% for Dow Jones to 34,299 points. I always urge you to read the big news because they will give you an indication what's waiting ahead. And last week, Blinken was visiting China, trying to initiate more smooth talks between the countries for those following big politics. And you should, even as a trader, you should, because it affects everything you do and everything forward. Knows that aggression has been building up with China. Especially started when Nancy Pelosi decided to go visit Taiwan, and later a few others followed to demonstrate strong support for Taiwan. But as is, the Ukraine conflict is not going anywhere. The trading tension is really starting to build up. And it was said that the relationship with China hasn't been this bad in decades. We see more and more tendencies of aggression building up across the board. And there is one thing Europe and US cannot afford. It's a two-front war with Russia and China. So Blinken going to try smooth the relationship was expected. Now it says that Taiwan belongs to China, and that's just how it is. Will it be enough to smooth all the situation? I do not believe so. I think things have been pushed way too far to turn soon. We see this in the BRICS countries developing much faster. Dollar is under pressure. Been speaking a lot about that in this podcast. Will not repeat too much today. But the dollar is really under pressure, and I'm very happy to see that now it is hitting the mainstream media. Before you could hear it from people like me, and it was doomed as conspiracy theories that it will happen. Now it is starting to hit the mainstream. It's an undeniable fact. Even Yellen had to admit that it's happening at a stronger and stronger pace. And I think I even saw that it was Egypt maybe that is going also towards the BRIC countries. The big scare for United States, and some of the reason that Blinken was visiting China is the fear that China will start dumping dollars. A kingdom is only as strong as its currency, and US dominating the world is because of the strong currency enable us to just print money, build super big armies, being ahead in technology and all the benefits that following being a currency leader. So what will happen if the dollar suddenly starts to decline at a strong pace? Well, the power of the US will go down, and that will be bad for anyone living in the Western world. If you are into trading, you have to think about these things because it will affect markets moving forward. And I've been highly speaking about gold, telling you that gold is the place where I want to be as a hedge against inflation, dollars and everything else. Now gold is mainly traded in dollar, but the pressure on gold is pushing gold upwards. China have been buying tons of gold, like I said last week, and other countries are following. Gold is currently sitting at $1,967, down $6 from last week. But I believe that gold should go upwards to $2,500, meaning that I see potential upside in the gold stocks, and we was trading gold barrack for those who remember that. I still believe there is plenty of upside, and as a hedge, I really like it as a hedge, because if markets take a dive, if the world goes into an even worse pace where it is now, I think gold will hold very good. And inflation is eating your dollar away, and inflation is not going anyway soon. It remains very sticky, and that made for Fed to say that, okay, we will not hike the interest rates this week. Last week he said that. But more will come. And that shows in the 10-year Treasury yield, which rose a little bit last week, up by 0.03 to 3.77. So the market believes there is more pain to come, and increasing interest rates are never good for the stock market. The question is how much is already discounted into the stock market prices. Increasing interest rates means that it's harder to borrow money, it is harder to pay the rent on the money you already borrowed. And for those following statistics, knows that these things are really kicking in hard now. And it's not only the businesses struggling, it's private persons and households, because the loans are getting more expensive. And that makes for a new trading opportunity coming up in very close future. House markets will have a major crash very soon. Already started a little bit in the industrial complex, but it will hit also the property market. I will not be surprised if we can see real cracks in the market. Maybe you cannot afford to buy a flat and be on the upturn, because after a downturn there will be an upturn. That's how we trade. We try to go in low, sell high. There will be plenty of different companies listed in the stock market as well that do property trading. Now let them be hammered. Some of them will be flushed away, but some will survive. And I believe that will be a forthcoming trading opportunity. We just have to let the ball roll, the crash hit a little bit hard, and then there should be an investment opportunity. There's a lot of lending platforms, etc., etc. I would stay away right now, because people will have harder time to manage their loans. But I'm in no doubt that it will be a good opportunity when things start to settle. Interest rate hikes, it takes some time for it to really kick in, and anytime soon we should start to see the first effect of interest rates, as quarter results will decline even more, even faster, but also personal spending will go down, and as I said, the housing market should take a crack. And I like to be forthcoming with you. I like to be up ahead of things. That was why I told you that Ukraine conflict would come long before it came, how it would affect markets, and why I told you that everything indicated that there will also be a conflict with China. Now we can trade on all of these things. The week, as I said, I believe it will be volatile. I will believe it will go much up and down. Will not be surprised if it starts red, goes green on the same day, then open red the day after, go green, and keep on doing that all week. Will not be surprised if Nasdaq is above 14,000 by the end of the week, but maybe as low as 12,800 as well. Trader's dream here, it is where money is made and lost very easy. And repeat, use trailing stop loss, always follows the stock up, never down. Will make the decision, because the hardest decision of all is to sell. I promised you, and for those following, know that we are in a transitional phase of this podcast as we are changing format. We will start to trade much more aggressive. For those following, know that I was trading extremely aggressive when COVID hit and market was taken down. We put in everything we had, enjoying that insane upturn to $16,000 at Nasdaq. Then we started to reduce almost to nothing, because market was close to impossible to trade. At the same time, I had a trading portfolio which you were able to follow. Last week I summarized a little bit about the biggest losses, the biggest gain. As you know, it was a very strong success, the trading portfolio and the way we were trading it. But we were very passive, not over-investing, not taking too much risk, because the market was not fit for that. As I told you, I think now we will be much better time to increase the risk, and I wanted to repeat that thing that I did when I started trading. I had a strategy, I want to try to repeat it, and I wanted to invite you to follow it. Doing a new podcast series. And I asked you, what level should we invest into? Should it be $1,000? Should it be $10,000? $100,000? And most of you answered $1,000. Happy to see that it's an amount most people can follow. It will come. Now I will have to have a slight time off because my kids will visit me here in Vilnius. Look really forward to that, meaning that I cannot guarantee that podcast will be out on time for a few weeks moving forward, not next week, but the first 2 weeks of July. So I think that we will start the new trading portfolio somewhere from the middle of July, maybe the end of July. That will be the start date. I will prepare you in all ways. But we'll pick candidates which I think can go really fast. Last few weeks I've been saying the same thing. Go for stocks which is heavily oversold on the relative strength index with good support below. We picked Pinterest that way, we picked Foot Locker that way, and by the way, Foot Locker is doing very good right now, and I think it will do even more. Makes, in my opinion, for less risk, high potential upside. These are the stocks that we will trade, and we will trade in a way where there should be much volatility, meaning that I expect even to lose quite much as we move upwards, because some of the stocks that we will be investing into, we cannot have too tight stop loss because they will be too volatile. But we aim to do a rock solid, hard trading portfolio. I started my trading that way using $450, whatever it was, and grew it to an insane nice amount. Can I repeat it? Not sure. I will give it my very best. It is upcoming. But let's sum up a little bit about the week ahead before we will end the podcast looking at my trading booth, which I'm currently building. It had a good week last week, and I believe this week will be even more. But box is being squeezed, and I will let you in on the new things coming. I believe the week will be volatile. Everything is indicating that. At the same time, we see the political issues around the world is increasing. Ukraine is not having the progress that they should. China being more aggressive than they should. The dollar is under pressure. I noticed that even against the European dollar was falling very hard this morning. It was traded around 98 to 1. Now it's at the very best. Now it's totally opposite. Now it is 109 for the European dollar. It was 106 just a few days ago. So it's really, the euro is gathering some strength while the dollar is weakening. Most of it has to do with, of course, the Fed decision not to increase the rates, while the European Union has to increase the rates. And sadly, countries like Norway is in for some real pain ahead. But I warned you, I told you many times before how these things would happen, and how the level would be. By the way, if I didn't mention, Yellen also now finally agree that dollar is under pressure. It's hitting mainstream media much harder every single day. And she also had to admit that the dollar is under struggle. We have to find ways to trade it. How will we deal with it? Does that mean that Chinese listed companies will do in average better than US companies? Or companies that has huge income from currencies like euro? Will they gain more traction? Yes. It is the common way of dealing with it. If a currency go up, main income is in the currency, yes, the company should go up. You can go to getagraph.com, my test page, and see how your stock is correlating against different currencies. If you wonder if your stock correlates, meaning that the stock follows the currency up or down, it's called correlation. I believe, as I said, volatile week, much up and down. I just have to guess when I say that it will be red, because Nasdaq is up 6 or 7 weeks in a row. Natural correction is just natural, but at the same time, I'll not be surprised, as I said, if it's above 14,000. Neither surprised if it falls down to 12,008. I just expect very, very volatile week. And again, personally, I would look for stocks with good support below and potential upside, and using relative strength index is the easiest of these indicators. Anyway, using trailing stop loss, you can enjoy the upturn. As I said, Tesla can just continue upwards, but if it starts to fall, the sell will be made for you, and you will thank me later. We will wrap up this podcast looking at my trading booth. And some of you will be listening purely on audio. As I said, it's available also on YouTube, and Spotify have a video version as well, where you will see the trading booth. I might even, because last Wednesday I flew up to the north of Norway to visiting my father. He lives in a small city called Harstad, not so far from Tromsø, very far north. And there was polaric day. It was sun 24/7. I might even post a few pictures just to show you that amazing nature up north. But one of the things that I really wanted to achieve was to build a strong trading booth. And I wanted to have absolutely control of all aspects of the booth, because today you can use TradingView or something, and you can set up your own algorithms or buy algorithms, and somewhat easy get into auto trading. The problem is that when you start to look at these booths, they have tons of options, hundreds of indicators to select from, and you have to find the different values, variables, weights, and it is very confusing. So the most important thing which I wanted to achieve and always wanted to achieve is, of course, make money. So what I did is now since early 2000 I've been working a lot on signals, how to create good buy and sell signals, and you will find most of these on stockinvest.us, but I cannot put everything I do on Stock Invest, because we have too many users and I cannot put buggy stuff there. So I have a developer page called getagraph.com. It was my original page long before I started stockinvest.us. And here I put up all my ideas and all testing, getagraph.com, where you can go and see. So I put the trading booth here and I develop it here, and when it finally is as good as it should be, it's properly tested, it might be moved to Stock Invest. But don't confuse these two things. It's not a Stock Invest item. You cannot log in on the page using your Stock Invest details. It's purely my developer page. I have created signals, as I told you, and currently I run 5,000 companies every minute. The system scans for buy signals for 5,000 companies. And here comes the second thing. I wanted to have an overview over the entire market, because in most of the trading applications you can only follow one stock. Simply because you need to calculate tons of information super fast, and there is a limitation of how much you can compute in a second, for instance. So you are limited to a few stocks. I wanted to do all of them, so I've created a system that is enabled to do that, but only on a minute basis. It cannot handle any faster, not yet. Because it's too much calculations. Every single minute it gets new information about the stocks, 5,000 of them, calculates a lot of things and come up with a buy or sell signal. Now this signal I have now pushed forward to a trading booth which I have enabled, and it buys and sells by itself, and that was exactly what I wanted to do. Make money 24/7, not doing other things than developing better algorithms it's, in my opinion, the smartest way of all, because I do not have time to sit trading every single minute, first in European time, then US time. It is way too emotional, it's way too stressful, and I really do not want to do it. I did it before, I have tried it, done it successfully, but I'm done with that. I have so many things which I want to do. As you know, if you follow this podcast, I love metal detecting, often showing you some of my finds. I want to go to Australia to try gold detecting. I want to go to Canada to do gold washing. And I've always been an adventurous person, meaning that I want to do things. I do not want to be fully tied up. On top of this, I'm building different businesses, and all of it demand attention. And there is just a certain amount of attention that you can dedicate to each item. And trading is the one thing that you really have to be dedicated to be successful. You have to follow the news, you have to follow the trends, you have to follow the ticks minutes by minute. You cannot let go, because usually then you will have flip-flop sales, which will cut hardly into your profit. You can do something medium, which I'm currently doing. I trade more on day basis, and anyone following the trading portfolio knows that's exactly how we've been doing. In that portfolio, which I allowed you to follow, I've been buying every Monday, and it's been cut by stop loss during the week or a few weeks later, doing the easiest way. So there's many ways to trade, but in general, trading is emotional. Now the trading booth is live. You can watch it at getagraph.com. Just click Shark in the menu and you will see my account. If you're very new, let's quickly just go back. So what happens is that I wanted, of course, to create a super trading booth. And the other thing, as I really wanted, was to make it simplified. I do not understand why there has to be too many choices. Make it very simple. And through all my life, and through all my philosophy of, for instance, stockinvest.us, is to enable all of you to do better trades. Increase your gains, reduce your losses. That's been the philosophy of our company. It's my personal private philosophy as well. Sharing is caring, and if I can help any of you to be better in trading, makes my day much better. And of course, the trading booth I want to share with you. That is why I'm sharing it in the podcast and why I made a web page where you could see everything. And eventually some of you will be allowed for a small testing yourself. It will be coming up when I have squeezed a few bugs. You just have to open an account. I will add more brokers, pass on 2 set of keys. It's called API keys. Click enable trading and it will trade for you. Currently you have to add the companies that you want to trade, but more is coming up, and that is maybe already this week. I will connect it to a stock picker algorithm which picks the stocks, because remember I told you there is 5,000 stocks. Somewhere between 20 and 100 of these stocks will have an insane gain today. They will be very volatile, and in many cases you can statistically see that it will be a good trade. They have certain patterns which repeat themselves over and over again. The hard thing is finding these companies. You have to use special lists, or you have to create your own algorithms trying to narrow down this list. And of course I've done all this, and why not just put that into options. So in the future version of this, you will be able to click if you should the booth should trade only your stocks, your selected stocks, or if it should trade on some of my algos. I'll create different algos, different portfolio types, from high liquid to high risk, etc., etc., and we will follow all of them and the performance. Go into Shark, and I just call it Mega Shark live trading booth right now. Happy to see that many of you come up with good suggestions for naming. If any of you have any other, please comment in the YouTube version your suggested name for the boot because I just put Mega Shark just for fun. If you go to the page, you will see that I will try to tell you what changes I done. Last changes was the 15th, where I found a bug. Trailing stop loss was preventing normal signals from closing position. And it's somewhat complex. There is orders flying everywhere, and I made it multi-L, meaning that it handles different accounts as well, not just my account, because if it was just my account it would be easy, but as I told you, I want for you to test it, meaning that tons of orders flying everywhere, and you have to have a certain feedback. It comes within a certain time, and you cannot have stop loss and trailing stop loss at the same time, so you have to reinitiate order starting to get very technical here, but it's fixed along with a lot of other things, but there is still a lot of bugs. How is the trading boot doing? Well, so far it's doing very well. I currently have 5 stocks which I allow for trading in the portfolio. I says that you cannot only trade for $10,022. I have $30,000 on the account. Currently is 9,000 invested. There is more information you can see. You can follow which stock currently is open. You can see how they are doing, and anyone following the futures know that the market is looking red as we speak. It's still early morning Tuesday. Currently is Apple, Lucid, Microsoft, Neo, Nvidia, and Tesla open patterns. You heard me say that I have 5 stocks. Well, I just put in Neo as a test. I was testing different things. Currently the pre-trade for all of them is red. You can go in and watch yourself. These are the open positions. You can watch the settle notes, which stocks and trades were settled, because it starts to be a few of them. At the very bottom you can see a summary of it. And if you look at Tesla, for instance, you can see that in total I have bought different amounts all the time. A total for $16,712. Total sold $15,012. Currently I have an open position of $1,828. Doing so, I've been making $128.35. The money has been invested in average 304 minutes. If we go to Nvidia, for instance, we can see that I made $210 in profit so far, having 136 minutes in average, the trades in average. In total, you can see that I made $701. It says that it's $1 1% profit, 104, but that is just on the total amount invested. It's how you look at it. If you remember, I only allow it to trade for 10,000, so $700 on 10,000 is actually 7% profit. Currently, unrealized profit is $125 is the open trades as we speak, but I believe that will change during the day. You can watch it, you can follow it on getagraph.com. It's called Shark. You can see how it is doing, and you can see and read what I am changing. Upcoming changes, as I said, is I will tie in more algorithms. I have done a few upgrades to the signal algorithms, which I will deploy, and hopefully we can bring this up to become even more profitable. 33 minutes 55 seconds into the podcast. I believe it's maybe time to wrap it up. Why make it so long? A new week is here, is shortened week, 4 trading days only. I believe it will be volatile. Hopefully it will be green. It's not up to me to decide. Everything is indicating that it should struggle. That's the technical indicators, but these things can go both ways. What I'm pretty sure about is that it should be volatile, meaning a lot of swings up and down. And if you're smart, use trailing stop loss, learn how to use it, so that your strong profit is not rubbed away in a single day. I hope you will have a beautiful week, and when we speak next week, that you're better off than when you started the week. Until then, see you in a week. Just have, again, a beautiful week. Bye.
Welcome to StockInvest.us Stock Analysis. We remind you that trading involves a high risk of losing money, and that you should speak with a financial advisor before buying or selling any securities. You should not base your investment decision upon StockInvest.us. By using the information you agree and are held liable for your own investment decisions.